Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grow Your Business with the VA Summit. We have Kathy Goughenour, and she's going to be here to speak to us about bulletproof your virtual assistant hiring process, of why we should hire a virtual assistant and what a virtual assistant can do for you. So thank you, Kathy. I'm so happy to have you here with me today to speak about the benefits of having a virtual assistant. So can you tell
You are
everyone?
welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
No, it's a pleasure because I'm learning so much from everybody, and I think this part will help everybody understand the benefits of hiring a virtual assistant. So can you tell everybody about yourself and your business?
Sure. So I have been in the virtual assistant industry since 2001, and I worked as a virtual assistant for 15 years. And I started out specializing as a real estate VA. And then in 2008, when the real estate market tanked, I switched to specializing in helping professional speakers. And for both of those target markets, I provided blogging and other marketing services. And as a virtual assistant, I grew my business to 6 figures.
Wow.
And I helped the people that I worked for as a VA double and triple their businesses also. So what I really focus on, as you mentioned in the intro, is how virtual assistants are not a cost for business owners, but how they can be a profit center for business owners. Because I think too many business owners look at VAs as a cost, when in reality, they're going to, honestly, it's one of the best ways to scale your business. And then I quit being a virtual assistant. Well, I worked part-time as a VA and part-time as a business coaching trainer for VAs for the past 10 years. And 2 years ago, I left my last VA client. It's hard to stop being a VA because it's just a great, I love being a VA, but my business training and coaching business was growing so fast that I needed to focus solely on that. So now I have run this business coaching and training program for VAs for the past 10 years. And I train, in my opinion, the world's best virtual assistants, which I call virtual experts because they are of the highest quality. And that's part of what I'll talk about today, is why you want high quality virtual assistants, how they can help you, how they can help your business grow, and how to identify those that are of that higher quality. And then there's one other thing that I do, Akila, if you don't mind me sharing, because I think it's really appropriate for this group.
Not at all.
And it is, I offer a free VA matchmaking service to business owners who are looking for virtual assistants. And you can find out more about that at vamatchmaker.com or by emailing me. Big difference. So I offer a free VA matchmaking service. And I don't know if anybody's tried to find VAs on their own. I think that's part of why you're holding this, Akila, is because people do find it difficult to find VAs. They don't know what to look for. They don't know where to look. And so one of the things that I do is for free, which is almost unheard of these days, but for free, I will have a 30-minute call with any business owner who's looking for a North America-based VA, because that's what I train. I train North America-based VA. So US and Canada, and who's looking for a high quality virtual assistant. So if you want the cheapest virtual assistant, don't come to me. That's not what I train. I train the best. And to get, to set up a call with me, just email me at Kathy@expertvatraining.com. Or if you want to check out my directory of expert VAs, you can go to vamatchmaker.com.
Great. And that email address I will have provided below your bio, so everybody, you will have access to see the email address just in case you missed it.
Yeah.
because I think that's great. Because
Yeah.
I'm on sites where people are looking for virtual assistant, and as soon as somebody say #job, off of one post, you'll get 50 responses. So it could be overwhelming.
Oh, it could be 1,000 responses. I've seen it before. Yeah. And that's one of the things, you know, I am a business coach and trainer. That's what I do. So I hire VAs for myself also. So I know all the different angles. I know what it's like to be a VA. I know what it's like to train VAs. I know what it's like to hire VAs and work with VAs, have a VA team. I have literally, and everybody freaks out, but I have a lot more VAs than most people would ever want to have, simply because of the industry I'm in. And, you know, I train these people, so I get to pick and choose the best of the best. So I actually have 14 VAs that I work with.
14?
Yes, I know it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but, I really love working with VAs that specialize. Okay. And so, for example, I have a VA who does all of my standard operating procedures. That's her job, is to do those. And I have a VA, I use Kajabi to run my business. So I have a VA, actually I have 2 VAs that do nothing but run Kajabi for me. And the reason I have 2, one of my philosophies, as your business grows, and mine is set to go to 7 figures this year. So to scale from, you know, literally 2 years ago, I was at 100,000, and to scale to 7 figures in 3 years, you've got to have SOPs. You've got to have, all that in place. So I have really invested in that, and I have a VA who does nothing but that. And the other point is, I need more than one person running each thing, because I need a backup, right? So like when one VA is because my business has grown so big so fast, you know, if you don't want to grow that fast, then you don't have to have that right away. But, you know, when you work with virtual assistants, you only pay for the time they actually spend working for you. So while I have 2 VAs who specialize in Kajabi, I'm not like overpaying, because I only pay them for the time they actually work. So I have 2 Kajabi VAs. I have a bookkeeping VA, and she also does my KPIs. I have a VA who does blogging for me. I'm trying to think of all of them. Oh, and I have, I actually, you know, I bring VAs up in my business with me. So as they grow and they want to grow as part of my business, they keep their VA business and they run it, but they also can become a coach in my business. So I now have 5 coaches who were formerly VAs and are still VAs. They're still VAs, and now they're coaches for VAs, and, you know, under me. I have 4 salespeople who are still VAs. So anytime anybody says, oh, a VA can only do XYZ, I'm like, I am living proof, number 1, that I train them to do all different kinds of stuff. And number 2, they are doing it for me and rocking it.
Wow. You have a little VA empire over there.
I do. And I love it, Akila. I love it. I love it so much.
Wow. So you started off as a VA, but then when you're scaled, how did you know it was time for you to hire a VA for yourself?
So when I was a real estate virtual assistant, you know, I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. There wasn't anybody teaching how to be a VA back then. And so I learned by trial and error. And once I figured out what people were really looking for, what they really needed, and how to let them know, how to demonstrate my value, and that I was actually a profit center, not a cost. I went from begging for clients to, I had 70 real estate agents as clients at one point.
Wow.
And I had a waiting list of other real estate agents across the US. Like in Florida, I had a waiting list of 15 at all times that wanted to work with me in Florida. So, yeah. So when I grew past 15, I felt like I could handle 15 real estate agents on my own. I was working a lot of hours. Let me tell you, I was working like 60 hours a week. So once that happened, I was like, I either have to stop taking on new clients or I have to hire VAs to do the work. And so that's what I did. I started hiring VAs to do the work that I brought in. And then I focused on being that one-on-one interactive person with the client, working as a project manager, overseeing my VAs. And I didn't really do much VA work at that point. I had a team of 5 VAs who did the work for me. And that's when I started to go, hey, I've trained all these VAs to do this work for me for free because I needed the help. And I'm like, I think I need to create a training program for VAs. And so that's when I started creating my training program for VAs.
Well, since everybody's virtual, how did you train your VAs? How did you
all of the training?
This is what needed to be done.
Oh, how do I train the VAs that work with me what I need done? Okay,
Yeah,
so the first, yeah. So, well, let me tell you how I do it now, because most people listening to this are business owners, right? Or they're business coaches and trainers, which is what I am now. So I think this will be more effective to tell them how I do it now. So let's say this is the first time you're hiring for whatever job it is. You know, it might be your first VA or it might be the first time you're hiring. So what I recommend doing is and this doesn't have to be like anything official, HR level or anything like that, but just jot down what you're thinking you want a VA to do. So we're going to call this the job description. Okay. Mm-hmm. So jot down what you want. Now, if you're really, really unsure, schedule a VA matchmaking session with me, or talk with a really professional high-level VA, and they can help you figure out the best things for you to outsource. Okay, we can talk a little bit about that today too. And, you know, figure out not exactly, but an idea of what you want, okay? Because that's your first step. And then go out and find your VA, hire them, put them to work, and teach them. If it's something that you need to show them on a screen, like I really like to use Zoom and share my screen and go, click here, do this, do that. Or if it's like writing, I can tell you that, and that's for something techie. So let's talk about writing. Here's how I do it with writing. Like, for example, my blogger, okay? Or a social media marketer person, anything that they could like actually produce something and give it to me. So in order to hire somebody like that, I tell them, here is what I want, okay? I give them, like for blogging, I want a 700-ish word blog. That would be for my target market is virtual assistants, okay? Women who want to become virtual assistants. For that, I want you to come up with a topic. I want you to write it. I want you to email it to me. And I want you to do that at no charge to me, because I want to see if your writing really is going to be what I'm looking for, okay? Did the same thing with my social media manager. I said, here's my brand information. Here is an inspirational quote that I would like for you to use to create a social media post for me. Go do it at no charge to me, so I can see how it is. And I actually had 3 different people do those things, because I like to interview 3 for each position. So I had them do that. Then I took a look at it, and I mean, you can tell really fast then, oh yeah, they're really good, I'm going to hire them. Or, oh my God, they don't understand my brand at all. Or they said they could write. And that's one of the things that I find is really, really difficult. Most people do know if they're good at techie stuff. They know if they know how to run Infusionsoft or not. But very few people really know how good of a writer they are. Because really good writers often say, oh, I'm not that good, and they really are good. And really bad writers often think they're really good. So that's something that you really want to, let me tell you, I've seen it.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, I also, in between my 2 VA businesses and now my business and coaching business, I had a 4th business. It was a membership site for real estate agents. And I sold blog posts to them. And so
Oh,
I had to write or hire people to write 20 blog posts every single month for me. And I did that for 4 years. So I went through a lot of bloggers and I saw a lot of good and bad writing.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's good to say that it's not bad when you're hiring a virtual assistant for blogging and for Facebook marketing, that it's not bad to ask for samples, because you can't just
No.
hire somebody off the blind. So don't
Right.
think that, you know what, can you just do a sample post for me? Can you do a sample Pinterest for me? Because they also understand that is a hiring process. They do understand.
Absolutely. And, you know, you might say, well, they already, like if they already have a portfolio, great, you can look at it. But for me, for example, if I often hire VAs who don't have a portfolio yet. So then you for sure want to ask them to do the work. But if they do have a portfolio, but it doesn't really fit your industry or your brand, then still ask them to do something for you, for your brand, for you, so that you can get a feel for if they can quickly grasp it.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
Because, for example, when I had 3 different people do, and I gave them all the exact same information, I copied and pasted it into 3 different emails. You know, here's the quote, here's my brand information, here's a link to my website. Now create this to brand me and, you know, for the target market. And you would not believe how different those 3 social media posts were. I mean, it blew my mind. And only one of them absolutely nailed it. And guess what? I had already interviewed all 3. And the one that nailed it was not the one that I thought it would be at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I was totally, and I think I'm good because, you know, I do this kind of stuff all the time. I think I'm pretty good at figuring out who's going to be a good fit for a position.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally wrong on that one. And one of the things is it was a guy, and you know, my business is very female oriented. 99% of all VAs are women.
Correct.
And so, you know, I've trained hundreds of women and 3 men. I kid you not, 3 men. And the one who nailed this was a guy, and he is still working with me to this day, and he runs all my social media stuff now.
Wow.
So that's another VA I have.
That's great. So
Yeah.
when you first decided to go look for a VA, where did you go the first time?
Well, of course, since I train and coach them, I looked in my own backyard.
Right.
Now, but back then, yeah, I'm telling you, back in like it was 2004 when I started looking for a VA, there weren't that many VAs out there. Yeah. So, you know, I did like most people do. I asked colleagues, you know, do you know anybody who's a VA? Do you know anybody who's a good writer? Because, you know, that's what I was looking for was bloggers at the time. And it, you know, what I found, the number one best VA I ever found doing it that way was someone, and this is actually how I bring people into my program now. I look for women who, and men, but like I said, they're mostly women. So I look for women who have already had a professional career. Okay, it doesn't have to be a long career, but for example, I just, a new VA just came into my program. Her name's Taylor. She's 23 years old. So you wouldn't think she'd have much experience, much professional experience, but she does, because she's always been a go-getter. She's always been out there doing stuff. She wants to work as a live event coordinator, and she has already put on live events from 30 people to 3,000 people. She's already put on like 10 live events.
Wow.
So she's already a professional. She's already had like 3 really great jobs where, you know, she's excelled. So, and, you know, imagine how much more experience and professionalism you get, you know, as you grow. So that's really what I looked for in the beginning, and what I still look for even to bring into my program are people who already have a professional level of of a background. I don't look for a degree in anything. I don't
Mhm.
care if they have a degree in anything. That makes no difference to me whatsoever. I don't find, and you know, I think education is awesome. I am an educator myself, but when I compare those who've gone through my program and have become outstanding VAs who have a degree versus those who don't, those who have an advanced degree versus those who have an hour or two of college, there's no difference in my opinion.
No.
It's what's inside them, it's their work ethic, and it's their professionalism and their experience. What do you think, Akila? What do you think about that?
I think it is, because from what I see from a lot of people, and like for myself, I have over 20 years of customer service experience. So a lot of the people who are VAs, they already have 5 to 10 years of different experiences, whatever field.
Yes,
The
exactly.
reason a lot of people who want to become virtual assistants is because they want something different. They want to either stay home with their families. They're tired of doing the 9 to 5 jobs. They just want something for themselves. So
That's exactly right.
a lot of these people who are virtual assistants, they've been in the business world for years already. But now it's like, okay,
Yeah,
you know what? I need something for myself. So this is
right.
what.
That's exactly right.
So yeah, they may.
We're talking the same language. That is exactly what I find too. And it makes no, you know, like me. So here's my background. I worked for AT&T for almost 20 years. They told me I laughed and smiled too much and I was never going to go anywhere. So I quit. Didn't retire. I was too young to retire. I quit because I just couldn't do it anymore. I had an undergraduate in marketing and an MBA. So when I built my VA business, I was like, I'm super smart because I have an MBA and I have 20 years experience at AT&T. And when I started trying to promote that to get my VA jobs, nobody cared. In fact,
Mhm.
I had potential clients who said, I'm not hiring somebody who has an MBA. You should not be a VA. You should be something different. And I'm like, you're crazy. You should be grabbing me up. So I stopped telling people what my education was.
Because nobody cares. They want the work.
They don't. They only care if you can do the work. And I could do the work. I was really good at doing the work. As are, you know, professionals like you, Akila. I would much rather have somebody with 20 years customer service experience working with me, doing anything that you want to do for me, that you're good at doing and that you enjoy, than somebody who only has a college education and has no experience.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody has their little story. Like I have mine, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like,
What's yours? Have you already told it? If not, I want to hear.
well, mine is I started off. I love customer service. I even decided to work for the. Well, I'm in here in California, so I'm near Los Angeles. I worked for the Los Angeles Dodgers for 3 years, and I think
Awesome.
you get your best customer service because you're face to face. So you basically learn how
Oh,
to cuss a person out without cussing them out with a smile.
yeah. I love it.
And so for me, my journey started because I love my job. I used to love my job of what I did. And then they said, Akila, you do this, this, and this, and that. And you'll get the promotion, you'll get the pay increase, you do everything. So for a full year, I busted my butt. I did everything. Promotion time came. Somebody else got the promotion. Well, she got another promotion because she was good at kissing butt. And then they said,
It's politics.
they said, Akila, you know what, we're going to pass. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, what do I do? Because I'm done here.
Yep,
And
that's exactly what happened to me too. They said, you need a master's. So I went and got a master's and still they promoted somebody else. And they finally said, you laugh and smile too much. And I'm like, I'm not going to stop having fun in life. I'm not going to stop being joyful. I'm going to go find somebody that doesn't mind if I laugh and smile too much. So I laugh and smile a whole lot now.
yeah. So I was like, well, maybe I need to go back to school. I looked into it. I thought about it. And then I saw somebody who did virtual assistants. And I was like, you know what? I have the experience. I have the years. I just need to do it. And I started my journey in, basically, I think I started May of 2018. May of this, well, it'll be 19 when this is aired, but May of 2018.
Congratulations, Akila. I'm very impressed. You know, I mean, honestly, not only does it take being a professional at what you do, and like you said, having the desire to have more freedom and flexibility, and be your own boss, work from home, but it also takes, because a lot of people want that, right?
Yeah.
But what they don't have that you have is the courage to do it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You
'Cause you-
had the courage to do it. And that's one of the things that I want to tell business owners who are listening to this, who are looking for VAs. These women not only are brilliant at what they do, they're not only really professional. If you find those who are professional, okay, who have that background like Akila and I are talking about, but they also have had the courage to step out and start their own business, and they can help you grow your business because they have that same burning desire that you have. They understand you more than an employee would.
Yeah, because it's almost like it's a passion. Because as you
Absolutely.
are in VA, they see you grow. Well, if you're growing, they're also growing because you're keeping them on.
Exactly.
As long as your business grows, they grow. So it's like basically you're growing together. That's how I see
That's
it.
right. And another reason, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you want a professional level VA. Another reason is exactly what you're saying there, Akila, is you want them to be able to grow with your business. Because just like with employees, if VAs turn over quickly and you don't keep the same one for a long period of time, you are wasting a lot of your time and effort. Because even though these VAs are very professional and very good at what they do, they still have to get to know you and your preferences and how you run your business, okay? And that's going to take 30 to 90 days usually to really get up to speed. And do you want to start over, constantly redoing that 30 to 90 days? No, you do not. The average business owner who hires an expert VA that has gone through my training program, they keep them between 4 and 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and typically, quite honestly, it's usually a reason like they shut down their business because they retire, or their spouse retires and they don't want to grow their business anymore, or the VA moves on, like I did. I moved on from real estate to professional speakers, and then I moved on from that to running my business coaching and training business. Or the many clients that I had, even as real estate agents back in 2001, are still today working with VAs that I've trained and referred them to.
That's great.
Yeah. And that's smart. Those business owners are smart to do that, because that VA really understands their business and is really helping them grow.
Right. And they built a trust relationship with each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you ever had issues or problems where basically kind of like been burned by a virtual assistant? And how did you handle that?
Yeah. So, and by the way, I have done a lot of research, interviewing, like you're doing here, interviewing entrepreneurs and asking them what the biggest challenges are that they've had with VAs. And I do that because I want to make sure that when I train VAs, I teach them not to do whatever it is that is the biggest problem out there. And sadly, the biggest problem and the biggest thing that I've heard people be burned by are VAs who say they can do something and they really can't. And I don't mean they say, well, it could be I'm a great writer, and they're really not. So, get proof that they're really a great writer by having them write something for you, right? Get proof that they're good at social media by having them do something like that. Sometimes you can't do that, okay? Like, for example, I'm a great bookkeeper and accountant, and yes, I can use QuickBooks Online, and they really can't. That could hurt you. That could hurt you. Okay. Because your books will get behind, your books could be done incorrectly. So, do your due diligence just like you would with anything else. Get referrals, follow up with those people that they've already worked with, find out what did you like and not like about working with that VA.
Okay.
And that's what I do. So it's that, not actually being able to do what you say you can do. And then the second one is meeting deadlines. And I literally tell the people that go through my training program, they're like, well, will I actually be able to get and keep clients. And I'm like, can you meet deadlines? When you set a deadline with a client, can you meet it? And they're like, well, of course I can. I said, don't say of course, because you would not believe the percentage of people out there who cannot meet a deadline. And if they're not going to be able to meet it for some reason, they don't communicate with the client and let them know, hey, there's something happened. I need another 24 hours. I need 48 hours. Can we renegotiate this deadline? Or, hey, and if we can't, I'm not going to be able to meet it. Here's the earliest I could have let you know if you need to find somebody else to do it. Instead, they disappear, never to be seen again. And that is the number one issue, is not meeting deadlines. And then they get embarrassed and they disappear.
Wow. And it's kind of no way to really avoid that, or how to spot it at the beginning.
Just, basically do your due diligence. Make sure that you, ask them, who have you already worked with that I can talk with, that I can email with. I would, it doesn't take that long to do that. It really doesn't.
Wow, that's great. And I also believe another thing is communication. Both sides.
Oh, yes.
Communication. Because as a business owner, I think it's very clear to communicate your needs and wants that you want your VA to do. Because if you don't start that from the very beginning, then I think that's gonna that's a relationship.
Yes. And in the very beginning, you want stuff in writing. You always want stuff in writing also. So I require a contract. And I teach the VAs how to create their own contracts and send them to clients, because here's another philosophy that I have. I don't want to work with a VA who gives me homework to do. I want to, Akila, have you ever had, I've had that. I've had them, well, here, and I need you to do, this just happened to me yesterday. And I called it to my VA's attention right away. And he's like, yeah, sorry about that. I shouldn't have done that. This is giving me homework. He's supposed to be, it's my social media guy. He's supposed to be wishing everybody in my training program a happy birthday on Facebook, so that I don't have to go in there and post it. I can just wish him a happy birthday. So he posts the happy birthday post, right? He forgot one yesterday, okay? I emailed him and said, hey, you missed a birthday. Oh, sorry. Here's the next 4 upcoming birthdays I have. Are these correct? Not my job, your job. And I just emailed him and said, I want this 100% off my plate. If you cannot do that, then I will either take it over or I will give it to another VA. Do you want to do this or not? I'm fine if you don't want to. And he emailed back, I definitely, he's really, really awesome. He is. I definitely want to do it. Here's my plan to never miss another one. And that's what I want. And I said, it's exactly what I wanted to hear from you. I love the new plan. I'm confident you'll do it. One tiny error like that doesn't make a difference. But don't give me homework of sending me the next upcoming birthdays and saying, are these right? Not my job to do. Don't give me homework. So that's what I call it, giving me homework. So don't give your clients homework. Yes, you do need to get information from them. Make it as easy as possible. And having a contract that you put together, that you give to them, that they can review. And if they want to make edits to it, or if they have their own contract that they prefer to use, that's fine. But at least you initiated it. And that's another sign of being a professional. Number one, that you even know you need a contract. And number two, that you have one that you can use. So get a contract in writing, what they're charging, what they're doing, what happens if they're out sick, what happens when they go on vacation. All of those kinds of things should be included.
Oh, that's great information. So in closing, can you just go over your matchmaking service? Can you discuss how that works in closing, like this? Because that's interesting. Like, service for and business owners.
Yeah, not a problem. Hey, Akila, I appreciate it because people say, almost everybody that I ever talked to. So let me just tell everyone here, why do you do this for free? So I make my money by training and coaching virtual assistants. Okay.
Mhm.
And part of the service that I give back to business owners and to the VAs who take my training and coaching program is this matchmaking service. Okay.
Mhm.
So I get to meet the business owners. I do a 30-minute call with them to find out what they need. And I just start off with, what are you thinking about that you need with a VA? Sometimes they say, I really don't know. And then I help step them through it. Sometimes they give me a laundry list and then we prioritize. Okay. Because usually somebody doesn't want to hire a bunch of VAs. They want to hire one for what they really need done right away. And I help them prioritize that in this 30-minute call. And then I email them, usually in 24 to 48 hours, depending on what day of the week it is, and what kind of VA they're looking for. Because sometimes I know really fast who I can refer to them. And sometimes it's really difficult and I have to search it out and find the best person. And that'll take me a little bit longer. But 24 to 48 hours, I email them with 1 to 3 VAs that I recommend, why I recommend them, and a link to their website or their LinkedIn profile so that that person can look and decide, yeah, I think Kathy's right, this is a good fit. Okay. And then they can reach out to those VAs on their own, or they can get back to me and say, hey, would you do an introduction between me and the VA? And then I'll introduce them and they interview them. And during that 30-minute VA matchmaking session, I also can give them tips on how to interview, what to look for if they need them. And a lot of times people do want to know that.
Wow, that's really great service. I really think it is, because it takes off that burden.
Thank you,
of,
Keela.
I need a VA. Where do I go? I don't want to be overburdened. I don't know where to look. Maybe they're not my
Right.
style. So, wow. That's
Yeah, and Akila, that's also what I ask is, what are your pet peeves in working with somebody? Do you want
important.
somebody chatty or quiet? Akila, most VAs are not like me and you. They're not outgoing like this. They are self-described introverts.
Yeah, I felt myself as that way, but I felt like if I wanted to grow, I had to get out there. So
Well, you are hiding it very well because you do not seem like an introvert at all. I cannot even tell you how many times I've asked really amazing virtual assistants in my program to do a short interview with me like this, and they won't do it. And it's just the two of us talking. And they won't do it because they're just like, oh, I couldn't possibly. And I'm like, it's just me and you talking.
It took a moment to get over it, but I figured if I want it to work, I have to do it. And I figure as part of the summit, if I want business, you have to do it. So it comes down to, if you'll find a VA you'll see that there's those hustlers who want it. And those are the great ones to pick, because this is what I want. So it's like, you got to put yourself out there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I do during the VA matchmaking session, which, those things I talked about are like the things that people think about the most. But the other thing I do is I talk with them about what I believe they should be paying for what they need help with.
That's important.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I help them come up with a budget and how to figure out how to put a VA on that budget. Okay, because a lot of people don't know what they should pay a VA, because and they don't know the VA industry like I do, and all the different ways that VAs charge, all the different methods they use, monthly, hourly, project, flat rate, retainer rate, block of time. So there's a lot of different methods, and I tell them what I recommend, how they can feel safe in not exceeding a budget and not having, I personally, I don't want a minimum. I don't want to work with a VA who requires a minimum. I'm just not going to do it. There are way too many good VAs out there for me to be locked into having to pay a retainer rate every month for somebody that if I don't need them. I mean, to me, working with a virtual assistant, one of the beautiful things about it is on an as needed basis. Now, do I use them every month? I usually use them, you know. If there was a minimum, I would blow it, because I have an unlimited amount of work that can be done, I feel like. And I am not exaggerating when I say that at this point. That's how I feel. And I think most business coaches do, but they have a limit of how much they want to spend on that area of their business. I mean, I do too. So I want to know that in that contract, there's no minimum in case there is a month or two that I have a cash flow issue. And I've had that where I go to the VA and say, this month, I only want you to do 2 hours worth of work or 5 hours worth of work rather than the 40 or 50 or 60 hours you normally do, because I need to cut back for a couple of months. And I'm just upfront with them, like you say it, Akila. I communicate. I let them know, here's what's happening. Here's where I am. Please, you know, I hope you don't go anywhere. If you do, I understand. But, you know, I think this will be a cutback. Like last April, I had a massive cutback that I had to do for 3 months. And, you know, most VAs went from whatever I was doing with them to, a couple went to 0 for 3 months, and the others went to half of what they were doing for me for 3 months. And then after that, oh, you're a kitty. After that, they went back up. Yeah. After that, they went back up to what they were doing for me before I needed to cut back. But it was awesome having that flexibility. And that's why any contract that a VA has with me is no minimum and a cap of a maximum. Wow, and then if they get close to that cap of a maximum, they email me and say, like, for example, Lori is the VA who does most of my Kajabi work. She's capped at 40 hours a month. Okay. And she comes to me last month and said, 3 weeks in, I'm already at 40. Do you want me to stop? Do you want me to keep going? And I said, Lori, I know that you don't want to work more. She doesn't want to work more than 40 hours a month for me because she has little kids and all this. I know that you would prefer not to. So you tell me if you feel like you have the time to do another 10 hours next week, please do. If you don't feel like you have the time, I understand, and we'll put it off till December. And she went ahead and did the extra 10 hours. But it was really nice because I had that option of, do I have the money in my budget to pay that? And does she have the time to give to me? And that's the kind of communication, Akila, that makes for a really good relationship on both sides.
And I think you need to know your budget first. And that's important. And then I feel like as a virtual assistant on the other end, it's I guess just because we're virtual doesn't mean we're cheap. And
no. Oh my God, no.
That's the problem. So, I mean, we have this past experience, but that's great from his communication and you know that budget. And I think that's important.
You get what you pay for. Okay. And if you pay, well, let me just say this. If you're looking for a North America based VA, my opinion is if you pay $15 an hour, you're not going to have a VA for very long, and you definitely don't have a profit center VA. Because at $15 an hour as an independent contractor, you cannot make a living in North America. Okay. Because $15 an hour as an independent contractor is not even $15 an hour that an employee gets, because we have our expenses as VAs too. So if you, and I can't even tell you the number of people who come to me for VA matchmaking sessions and say, well, I found a VA on Upworks for $15 an hour. And I'm like, I highly recommend you do not hire them because they don't know what they're doing. Or if they do know what they're doing, they will not stay with you for very long if you don't increase their pay very quickly. Are you willing to increase their pay very quickly? Well, I might be willing to do that. That same person, the most recent one, she came back to me. She goes, well, I'm going to give them a try. I said, okay, good luck. Come back and let me know how it goes. Or come back if you want a VA. She called me 2 weeks later and said, yeah, they already quit. And she said they were good. They were good, but they already quit because they realized they can't make a living at $15 an hour.
Well, and if you you got to remember, I mean, that $15 an hour is actually, I think, 12 because Upwork takes a cut.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So would you like me to share what I recommend paying?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So this is what I tell people in my VA matchmaking sessions. Again, North America-based VAs. So, you know, the overseas VAs, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm happy to talk about that too. Those are not your profit center VAs. Okay. The low cost India, Philippine VAs, they are not a profit center. They cannot help you grow your business. They can do projects, they can do busy work, they can do exactly what you tell them to do. But if you want somebody who's a problem-solving, proactive, professional VA to help you grow your business, you need to pay a minimum of $25 an hour for somebody who is an administrative VA, okay? And if they're really good and they do a blend of administrative stuff and a little bit of higher level stuff, but not a lot, 25 to 35, okay? If they are doing, and I can give some examples of what I'm talking about. If they are doing anything higher level than admin work, they need to be paid 35 to 45 at a minimum. And as they get more experience and they're working on the things that are more difficult, $45 and up, okay? And the up part has no end, okay? Now, people might be going, oh my God, I can't believe you're talking about paying somebody that much. Well, when they're helping you grow your business, yes, you can start them a little bit lower. You can start them at $35 an hour if they aren't already an expert at what you want them to do. But you better be giving them raises or saying yes if they say I'm raising my rates if you want to keep them. That's okay. It's fun. So for example, Infusionsoft. If you want an Infusionsoft VA, you're looking at who really knows what they're doing. You're looking at 75 an hour and up, okay? Because Infusionsoft is difficult to use. They have to invest a lot of time learning it, and they need to have the experience, okay? If you're willing to start somebody out that doesn't know it yet and allow them to learn, you can start them off at 30. If they're really new, allow them to learn and grow, but you need to keep giving them raises or they're going to leave you and go work for other people.
Wow.
So what do you think about those dollar figures, Akila?
I'm glad you said it. And I think they're great.
It's what I tell everybody when I talk with them. And if they're not willing to pay that, then I don't have any VAs to refer to them.
I'm glad you said it, because I think a lot of people don't feel like just because you're a virtual assistant that you don't, I don't know, I guess they feel like you work at home, but you know, working at home is expensive. You gotta pay internet.
Hey, business coaches and trainers work at home too. I work at home. I got my PJs on right now. These are PJs. I always work at my PJs. You know, VAs have overhead just like everybody else. VAs have to pay their own self-employment tax just like everybody else that has their own business. And their value increases with how much they can help you. And when they can help you tremendously grow your business, they are well worth it. I can tell you that those numbers that I just shared, it's what I pay. It is what I pay. And I'm the one training the VAs, and it is what I pay because I want to keep those VAs.
Wow. That's great.
That's what I pay. Yeah. It's worth it because, you know, I'm growing my business with their help.
And that's how you get to 6 figures, 7 figures. That's how you get up there.
Exactly.
You
can't do it by yourself. And you can't do it with $5 an hour overseas VAs who, I say this, they're really sweet, they're really nice, they're kind, they're yes people. You do not want a yes person helping you grow your business. You need somebody who thinks for themselves. Here's what people come to me and want. They say, I want someone who thinks for themselves, who can solve problems without asking me, and I'll pay them $15 an hour. And I'm like, well, you definitely can get all those things, but not for $15 an hour.
And like you said, you can, but they're not going to stay, because once they get the experience, they're going to want to move up.
Yes, if they don't know yet what they're doing. Okay, and see, that's the other thing. If they don't know yet what they're doing, is that who you want to work with? Is that really who you want to work with? If it is, like I have a couple of people that are like, you know, I'm willing to give a newbie a shot. That thrills me. I love that. I love that they're willing to give a newbie a shot. And I tell them, in fact, the VAs that I train, I have them put in their contract whatever price they're willing to start at. and then 3 months or 6 months, depending on how much they already know and what their experience is in their contract. Okay, so for example, 25 an hour for the first 6 months, 35 an hour at this goes automatically to 35 hours at this date.
That's great.
So built-in increase in rate. So both the person hiring them and they know where you're headed.
That's great. I'm going to have to end this. This was just such
Okay.
great, Kathy. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Akila. You're welcome.
I learned so much. All right. Thank you, everybody. I hope you learned so much from Kathy. I know I learned a lot from Kathy. Please look at her links. Go check out her information. And I thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching Kathy.
Bye.